So, Candice, do you want to tell your robot dream first or present your apology?
I'm going to tell my robot dream first so I can explain to Kariki what happened and to the rest of Earth who has no idea what we're talking about. Also, because it kind of ties into this females conversation. So one day I had a dream that that all the women in the world had been somehow entranced and were now robots for the purpose of doing men's bidding, right? So men were doing, I guess, all of the thoughts based work and, politicking in the earth and all these things, and women all basically were like Stepford wives. And in the dream, I knew that I was a robot. Like I was having these moments of like awakening, like there was a life before where I was now, but I couldn't like get out of the spell, whatever the spell was. So eventually, in the end though, I did like wake up and I discovered myself in this Morehouse dude's house that I have never dated, by the way. But it's a real person and I was trying to get out. That was it.
It sounds like
it was rough.
It sounds like a paradise for me.
What you
it sounds like
women being robots. You can program them to do exactly what you want.
Bruh. Yo.
I'm not serious.
I ain't buying
it. I'm not serious at all. Y'all think I would really just come out and hang on that cliff alone?
Crazy things have happened.
Would you be alone?
He definitely wouldn't be alone. I wouldn't be with him, but he wouldn't be alone.
Yeah. You might be kicked out of my circle, but folks out there, there's some folks out there that'll love to run with you.
Yeah.
I'm
I mean, it's folks out there that are it's males out there that are living their life.
I see your game.
Twist on it for y'all.
I see your game. So when you were sitting in this nightmare, they are dreams too, what was your takeaway?
That's a great question, sir.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. My takeaway was that it's not entirely, my dream was not entirely a figment of my imagination. I actually think I may have had the dream in some part because around that time, I think, maybe this happened after the dream, so I might be appropriating it onto this. But around that time, I think we were having a conversation about women, like the social media face of women. Like
that conversation was before you told us about the dream.
Right. So I think something was in my head about that conversation. Maybe something else had kind of come up, to make it alive for me at the moment. But there was, like the kind of Kim Kardashian look.
Yes, we were talking about somebody who had that look or some lip fillers, the high cheekbone lip filler color of your sweater face, all of that black hair. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, straight hair.
Yeah, waist is small, ass all the way out here though, you know what I mean? Titties with the same cleavage lines, all that shit, same perfect cleavage and everything. Yeah, I know you're talking about.
Yeah, there were a couple of examples that we had found, and it was a meme that was like, why does everyone look the same, or why is like this the one aspiration? I think Wayne had determined it was like a walking Bratz doll.
Sounds about right. Mm-hmm. It sounds horrible, man. And I refer to it as a nightmare because I can't imagine being in a space where there's no charisma in the room. There's no personality. There's just a bunch of people droning around. Ugh,
Well, that's what culture is moving towards right now.
you a
Because
lie.
we're getting to a place where people are being silenced for having different views. And some of those views are so ignorant that they probably should be silenced, but it makes people who, again, come from a place of ignorance and not malice, it makes them afraid to speak what they want to speak. And we all have to fall in line because something is offensive to Wayne, it's supposed to be offensive to me. And I'm supposed to be sympathetic and empathetic to all of everyone's needs, and including my own at the same time. And then, social media culture and these algorithms, they manipulate what we see and what goes into our head. So then we keep seeing this one look of what beauty becomes. And girls think that they're supposed to look like that in order to be beautiful. So then they start pulling towards that. So now you got one side of society being afraid to speak their truths and just falling in line to what culture says is the truth and not pushing back on it. And then you have women wanting to look like one woman because apparently this is the look to have, this is the way to act, to have life together. And we are just slowly stripping away free thought. And then we're going to have a society of fucking robots. But it's not just going to be the women. It's going to be the men too, because so many men are paralyzed to the way they're supposed to act, the way they're supposed to look based off of what they see. Like, how many people out here are 25 years old trying to figure out life and thinking they're supposed to make it? Like, no, bro. The people who make it by 25 are the exception. They're not the norm.
That's fair. I think because you put a couple of things together, and those are some pretty tough conversations if we really dive into it. There's one part of the conversation where it sounds like we're speaking towards the acceptance. I want to be accepted by society in mass. I want humans to look at me and see me as someone that is the standard of social media beautiful versus me coming to grips with who I am as a person and being okay with who I am as a person. I am going to paint my face or do makeup, whatever that devil's paint stuff happens, paint my face and present contour lines and things in that nature to be acceptable to the general public versus being confident and okay in who you are as a person. I think some root cause analysis needs to happen in that scenario so you can figure out why so many people had this burning desire to look like one human. I would argue that's one of the pieces that need to be invoked. Lovelace, I saw your lips moving, but I don't know what came out your face.
I was trying to figure out if you call makeup devil paint.
Yeah, the devil's paint.
Okay. Just
Yeah.
wanting to make sure I heard you right. Thank you.
Oh yeah, no
Why
worries.
is the devil's paint?
Bruh. It is the. Let me go ahead. Let's pod today, Adam. It is the most deceitful item in the beauty market, and it's available to many. We have seen human beings
You forgot
put
about
that
Botox.
stuff on. Say it again.
You forgot about Botox. I think it's worse than makeup.
It might be worse, but it's not as deceitful because it's not as available. The
Right.
value,
Makeup is more accessible.
Yeah, you can spend 10 minutes at Ulta Beauty and you can come out of there prepared to look like a whole new human being. Like what makeup has done and what people have been able to do with makeup, and how they've been able to not just change, enhance their appearance just to, get a little confidence boost. They came out whole new shades of a person. You went from being my complexion to walking around Lovelace's complexion. And that was, it was a lot of sponging and painting and rubbing on and stuff that happened. But that's the way that I've witnessed some of these transformations. And I sit there in shock and awe. How does a person get to a point where they are so uncomfortable with what they see in the mirror that they 100% change everything that's going on with their presentation? I'll bite my tongue for the sake of conversation before I go into the conversation pertaining to the bleaching of skin and the lightening of skin, which is crazy in the Asia region. Go ahead.
Not all makeup is bad. I think that it depends on who's using it, right? Like we are all given tools that can be manipulated into something that's bad. So, I mean, whether it's you taking a Tylenol because you have a headache and then overdosing, or me putting on lipstick and then someone like transforming themselves into somebody completely different. I like makeup, and I watch makeup artists who are really good at what they do. They describe it as an art form and not necessarily,
It's some Van Gogh type shit.
Say again?
It's some Van Gogh type shit.
Yeah, I mean, it takes a skill to do that. I do think that there are women out there who think that they have to do that every single day. And there are people who are not comfortable with the skin that they're in. And there are people who want to look like other people. So it's not, basically I'm saying like, it's not, I don't think it's the devil, and I don't think like it's a monolithic thing. I think that people use it for different reasons, whether it's to enhance your beauty. Maybe you've been in a pandemic for however long and you want to put on some makeup because you haven't been anywhere. I think everyone does something different with makeup.
Yes, and as I said earlier, I'm here to pod today. So when I speak to and call it the devil's pain, I call it the devil's pain in the same capacity that we call marijuana the devil's grass. Like, it's not in and of itself a horrible thing. However, when used to alter, to deceive, to work outside of its original context, I think you're a little skeptic for me. I've seen some crazy transitions out there. And by crazy, I mean you were a whole man and now you literally look like a whole young lady. And that's courtesy of the art and the skill that came with applying that makeup. You literally changed your whole beard, didn't shave it, it just went away because you understood the art of application. And then you did your contouring and all those other things, and bada bing, bada boom. I don't recognize you based on that XXXY thing anymore.
When I think of Candice's robot dream, I thought of a story that this girl I knew told me where she would go to bed with her man, her partner, in full makeup. And she would have her hair done. And then he would sleep. And then she would get up in the morning, wash her face, do her hair again, and put her makeup back on, get back in the bed. And then when he like wakes up, this is what he sees. The same person who he went to bed with last night and not her actual self.
Ma'am,
Girl,
let me share with you. Here I am. All of my hedonistic ways. I'm sitting in Sunday school. Yes, I went to Sunday school, Chew. And while I'm sitting in Sunday school, a young lady shared that same conversation. She said, my husband will never see me with my face undone. And I said, how is that? And like, y'all don't swim, y'all don't, never mind. Not that part's not important. But I was just like, really? And she goes to bed last and she wakes up first. And her intent is to never be seen unpainted. I found myself shocked, but I want you to know you're not the only person that has had that conversation.
Wayne, about to tell you there's this thing that there's makeup that you can swim in and it doesn't come off.
I can only take your word for it.
That it sounds exhausting to live that way.
Bruh. My
What kind
body's
of
burning
man are
thinking
you
about
with?
doing this all day. Like, get what?
Yeah.
Like what kind of man is the man that his woman be all day, every day? Like,
It wasn't a demand, it was her choice.
but yes, but This is unpopular conversation, not for Kariki and me, but for you all, perhaps. Oh,
They don't want to have that
you-
conversation.
I'm sorry, what? When you are in relationship with someone, whether it is a committed non-married relationship or a married relationship, I'm just going to use that range of examples, okay? And you frequent the people's social media space. Let's just stick with Instagram for the time, all right? And you make it your regular business to like, comment, subscribe to the pages of every beautiful fitness model that you see. Um, it's a little mixed messaging depending on leave your hand down, depending on who you are and how you live the rest of your life. Okay. For example, if the people that you like, comment on, subscribe, look like who you're out here trying to date, then the only question that I have, if I have one even, is does that dynamic work for y'all's relationship? Are you, sir, for example, also cool with sis blowing up Michael Jordan posts with heart eyes, reposting or putting Steph Curry in her stories like, this nigga fine, okay? Is that okay? If it is, then y'all live your life.
Get a close friend.
Okay? And people can feel your close friends. They don't have to see it. It's in your spirit. So the thing about most guys, though, is that the person who they dating or trying to date, beautiful women, gorgeous women, but they don't look like your social media prototype. I'm not saying that everybody has to make the same decisions, but some people's way of coping with this persistent issue is trying to morph themselves into what it looks like you like. It is a decision for sure. However, it's not from nowhere. It didn't fall out the sky. Thank you.
But Candice, there are also men who vocalize that they want their women to dress that way, to wear her hair that way, to put her makeup on that way. And yes, it's still a choice. She doesn't have to do all that. But the brain is an interesting thing. The mind, the way it works.
So to respond to what Candice was saying, it's such thing as liking turkey, chicken, steak, shrimp. You can like different types of meat. I eat a lot of chicken. I eat chicken throughout the week. Chicken is your old lady. You know what I mean? Oh, reliable. You love it. Good enough for me. Yeah, I love me some good chicken. Lobster is what I look at on Instagram. I'm not eating this every day. I like it, but this ain't what I want. And me, my love for chicken is no less devalued by my love for lobster. That's all.
Bruh.
I don't.
That is a horrible comparison.
Terrible.
That was
terrible.
First of all,
that was so terrible because my man is gonna call me a lobster. If that's what the greatest thing to him is, I'm gonna be a lobster. I don't want to be no chicken. That other girl over there, she chicken. I don't care if you eat chicken every day. I'm lobster. Mm-mm.
I need to understand how the sea roach, lobster, became something to look at. Like, nah, bro. Look, I understand where you're trying to go with it, but here's where I stand for you. There's a difference, Lovelace, in what catches your eye and what connects your soul. Just because something turns your head doesn't mean you want to be present with it on a regular basis. There's a whole lot of shiny objects out there, and it's not hard to get distracted. But it doesn't mean that that's necessarily something that you want to be in a space with. And I find myself concerned about those that are extremely drawn to those that that have a image that they're trying to keep, and they make their living off of projecting that image, and we find ourselves eating it up. I find myself concerned about it, but for the chicken to the lobster to the steak piece, I don't know, big dog. Like, yeah, that don't sit well.
Well, yeah, no, I'm just creating content here, but on a
I know
serious
you was
note,
adamant.
But he's onto something. It's that also didn't come from nowhere, and he is also not alone.
no, but I think that on to what Wayne was saying is there's things that you can look at and there's things that you can actually live with, and I can like a Lamborghini. Here I go with another bad reference. I could like a Lamborghini, but I'm not trying to drive that every single day, and not from the sense that we're getting into the value of cars, which is better. I talk about which is better for me, which is more valuable for me. When I bought my truck, I was in between buying a two-door luxury car or a truck. And I said, what the hell usefulness does this small car have for me? With my truck, I can move stuff around. I can keep stuff in the back if I need it. If I end up in a situation where I'm supposed to stay with somebody and they get drunk and don't answer the phone, I can sleep on my back seat because it's plenty long enough and I keep a blanket back there. You know what I mean? So like you get what works for you, and what might be of high value to one person may not be high value to another. So I'm here with you. I'm investing my time. I'm investing my space. I'm investing my resources with you from coming from someone like me. That's the sign that this is what I like. This is the look that I like. Like I like a little extra something around here, a little stretch mark, a little say like ain't nothing wrong with those imperfections, but that doesn't mean that if Meg the Stallion posting some knees challenge that I can't just like that too. But I don't want to live with that. Like that shit's annoying. It's good for this small space that I'm in. Like, oh yeah, hey, huh, but not for this real life that I'm actually trying to live.
I hear you, bro. I hear you. I know it comes down to preference, and I want to try to avoid the comparison thing. I just know for me, I don't prefer to be with the woman that is going to have to take out of the 24-hour day, 1 hour putting on the devil's paint and then another hour taking it off so she can rescue my pillows. Like, I don't, that's my preference though. I don't need 2 hours a day of you hiding yourself and then revealing yourself at the end. Like, I'm good. You can just, I prefer what I call natural raw in my presence. But that's preference.
All right. So, Candice, to your apology. Oh, hold on. Before we get to your apology, I got a question. Back to your robot dream, and I think we missed it. Now, you said you woke up in somebody's bed that you hadn't been with, you hadn't dated.
I said house.
House. Sorry. Forgive me. Now, you woke up in someone's house. Now, is that someone's house that you feel like you may need to be in, or is that somebody who's been on your mind, or somebody that you may should reach out to because you woke up in their house and maybe there's a home for y'all to build together?
Nah.
What room of the house did you wake up in?
I feel like I was in a closet.
Oh.
Like it was somewhere dark and kind of enclosed. Like
he just pull you out when you're ready to show you up.
See what I'm talking about? It was a real random person too. Like somebody who, like it did the fact that I woke up in his house in his closet don't even fit what I know of his character. So I don't know what that was.
That dream about just being present and not having control of yourself sounds a lot like another version of sleep paralysis to me.
And it don't sound like what I know of your character either, Candice. I ain't been hiding or stuck in the closet. That sounds wild and out of control.
I was as good. I was a robot. I was as good as a
Roomba. A whole Roomba.
Right. But I was getting out. I was getting out though. I really was.
By direction or by yourself?
It was by myself. I had finally been able to break the robot spell, and I was on escape plan immediately. I was actually surprised to have been in his house. I was like, why am I here? And then I left. Made more interesting. Never mind.
We running for stuff now?
No, I just don't. Just made more interesting by the fact that I didn't have any sort of like interaction with him in school. I mean, like, except saying hello.
That's a lot of you got a lot of admirers that you ain't had much interaction with, Candice.
Hey, we're gonna run from that topic right now.
Yeah,
What the next thing you was about to say?
Nah, you know, I didn't have anything important. No, we can talk about that topic about Candice and her admirers.
We ain't going to that next time.
Boy, nah, we ain't doing that. You hell, get out of here.
We ain't got time for that.